Hello, everybody. How are you? Welcome to another one of our talks in my channel. Developed the speaking, reading, writing, listening English, and they developed all of that to become fluent in the second language. I have this channel here. You are in my channel, so please, if you are coming here for the first time, subscribe to my channel. Have you subscribed already? So please subscribe to my channel. It's going to be really nice to have you here more often, okay? My guests here, they will tell stories on how they became fluent in English, how they developed all these skills needed for our communication skills, our fluency in English. They will share stories, they will share experiences, and they will share their difficulties in learning the second language. If you want to be my guest, here in the description of this video, somewhere here, I put a Google Forms. You just have to fill in, and you may be asked to be our guest in one of our talks. We will hold another part of these talks in August and September. So if you think you want to be part of this, share your experiences with others, please fill in and we will be in touch. I have the pleasure to receive today these three ladies, these three people that I care so much for. And let me start introducing my cousin. Regina Scharf is my cousin, and I've known her since I was born because she's a little bit older than me. Regina Scharf, she coordinates the Nova Mata project, a map of 1,200 conservation initiatives in the Atlantic rainforest. She is an awarded environmental journalist with over 30-year experience in both in Brazil and France. She is also a pioneer of environmental and risk analysis in financial institutions, both for Banco Real and Santander Group, and the United Nations Environmental Program Financial Initiative. She lives in Portland with her husband, with her daughter. Her daughter is 14 years old. Luisa, hello. I don't know if you're watching us. I know Flavio is not watching us because for him, everything here is boring. You know, like, oh, my dad is having a life. He doesn't care. I don't know if you're watching us in your 14 years of age. And she lives in the U.S. West Coast in Portland, United States. As I told you, she's my cousin. I care for her very much. I'm not going to be able to talk to her during her speech because she's experiencing some problems with her internet connection. She decided to go to the mountains this weekend to spend some quality time with her family. So I'm going to ask her the question. I'll have to wait for some time, and then she will give me the answer. I wish she could say something now, but I'm going directly to the question for her. Okay. Claude, can you tell us a little bit about how it was for you in the early process of developing the English language? Because my great-grandmother and her grandmother, she only spoke French at home, and that was something that was really peculiar of her. So French was spoken all around, but not English. How was it for you in the early process? How was it for you to you have today? Your connection. So I'll stop speaking now and you can start at any time. Welcome, Claude.
Scallion. Toss that on a hot steak so it melts.
Charger. I love this new charger I got. It's fantastic. Lose it? That is the coolest little charger. It's like a solar powered.
Oh, is that what you used to have on the tabletop?
Yeah, this thing, but it's like a huge thing.
Claude, I will go back to you. We can hear Lenny behind you. We can hear Louisa behind you, but we're not hearing you. I don't know what's happening. I will go back to you. I will ask the same question. Don't worry. We'll get there. We'll get there. I'll talk to Fernanda and Beatriz now, and we'll see if you manage to fix your problem in this meantime. Don't you worry. I'm sorry, guys. We're experiencing these problems today. You know, it's internet connection. We have to rely on that. But my second guest of the night is Fernanda Cahen. Fernanda is also my cousin. Yes, she's the mother of Gabriel and Paulo. Hello, Paulinho. Hello. Fernanda Cahen, she's an international business and innovation specialist. She has over 15 years of academic and professional experience in these fields. She's an associate professor at Centro Universitário FEI. Nowadays, she works at Centro Universitário FEI. FEI, I don't know what it stands for, but it's engineering, right? She has projects in universities all over the US. She has projects in University of Southern California, Denver University, and Indiana University. She holds a PhD in business from USP, University of São Paulo, and she's a member of EMRN, Emerging Multinationals Research Network. Her newest book is just out. The name of the book is Innovation from, oh, you have it here. Wonderful, Fe. Innovation from Emerging Markets, and it's published by Cambridge University Press. It's so great to have you here, Fe. Welcome.
Thank you, Danny. I'm delighted to be here tonight. I really loved your invitation. When you invited me, I thought I started to think my trajectory learning English, and it was quite a process. So I'm very happy to be here tonight.
That's exactly what we want to hear from you today, Faye. Your experiences, your learning process. Can you tell us a little bit? I asked Claude the same question, but I will ask you again. How was it for you at the beginning of your study process? Was it something that you took for granted? Was it something easy, difficult? Can you tell us a little bit about it, please?
Sure. So I started to learn English in my regular school. I used to live in the countryside here in the state of São Paulo, and I was about 11 when I started to learn English, and I really enjoyed the process. So even though I was 11, 12, I used to listen movies without subtitles or subtitles in English. I like to follow musics, like the lyrics. So for me, I really enjoyed the process of learning English. And when I was about 13, I started a school to learn English as a second language, like more in a formal way. My mother enrolled me at CCAA. Everybody knows CCAA here in Brazil. And I did the whole course at CCAA. I think it was 5-6 years of this English as a second language. So for me, it was something good, but I never had the consciousness that I was completely fluent in English. So I had that to start later when I was about 20 years old.
You said something. You said
about
something. You said something about movies and music. How important were movies and music in your learning process, Fe?
Very important. I think TV, for example, for me was like a key factor for me to learn English. Because when I, for example, engaged in a TV show or in a movie, I was like really paying attention to the subtitles in English, and it was a way to see how people speak in more in informal ways, learn slangs, things like that. I think TV was really important. Music also, because I enjoyed. I really like the rock bands and things like that. So I really enjoyed to listen to the music and see the lyrics at the same time. That was important to learn vocabulary, but I think TV was more important for me.
And was it at the beginning of your studies, was it something that was a hassle for you? It was something boring, or it was something natural in your life?
It was something natural, I think, because I like it. I like the process of learning a new language. Later in life, for example, I took Spanish classes and I really enjoyed. I don't practice at all, and my Spanish is horrible. But I enjoy the process of learning a new language. And I think you learn much more than the language. You learn the culture, you learn how people behave, you learn more. And it opens doors. I think for me, English is that.
It is indeed. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Pep. Thank you. My third guest of the evening is Beatriz Corrêa. Beatriz is not my cousin, okay? Fernanda and Claude, they are my cousins, but Beatriz is not my cousin. Beatriz, she has a bachelor degree in public relations from USP, University of São Paulo. She was born and raised here in São Paulo, but she has spent a good part of her life in Europe. She lived in Italy, she lived in Ireland, and now she's been living for the past 5 years in London, UK. She works for a company called Quacquarelli Symonds, which is a consultancy for education that organizes educational fairs all over the globe. She was my language English student when she was a teenager, and yes, I'm getting really old. You can see from 50 Shades of Grey in my beard, and I'm so happy to have you here, Bia. Hello.
Hi, Dani. Can you hear me well?
Wonderfully. You can go ahead, Bia.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. I was really happy to be invited. I have really happy memories of being your student, so I'm very happy to be here.
It's great to have you here, Bia. And I actually took some part of this process of learning in your life. But I want to take you back a little bit before, when you started learning English, when you started developing the skills needed. How was it for you, Bia? Can you tell us a little bit about it, please?
Sure. Basically, I've had English at school from the time when I was about 5, I think. And I think when I was 11 is when we started learning verbs and at school. And I remember that it was the first time that I actually failed a test at school. And I don't know if it was like something, because I was always like a little bit of a nerd at school. So when that happened, I don't know if that made me want to become really good at English, because after that I was like, no, I'm going to be good at this. So I don't know if it was like a little bit of a turning point for me. But around that same time, when I was, I think, 12, is when my parents put me a cultura inglesa to also, take classes there as well. And that definitely, helped me a lot as well. And I think that, I was always really interested in movies and music as well. So that was also something that really always helped in the process of learning English for me, because it really changed my perspective. Because before going to Cultura Inglesa, I was really hesitant. I remember my parents were always very concerned with me and my sister learning English, because it would be very important for our careers and, to have more opportunities. But I remember that in the beginning, I wasn't really a big fan, to be honest. But after, actually going there, I loved it. It was never something that I saw as, a hassle for me. It was always fun, especially when, we had teachers that would bring, songs and movies like we used to do as well. So that made all the difference for me. And I think that also being a huge Harry Potter fan was also something that was very important growing up. Because I remember that it came to a point where the books would come out in English first, and I wouldn't want to wait, a few months until the Portuguese version came out. And that's how I actually started reading in English a lot more. And I was like, well, actually, I can understand, everything I might not know, a couple of words, but I can actually understand what's going on. So I think that was what really made me, start to read in English a lot more. So yeah, I think that's how it all started.
Wonderful. And I guess because you're writing in English, you could give spoilers to all your colleagues who would wait for the Portuguese version to come out. That's great, Bia. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Chloe, are you back? You're back. Open your microphone. Can you answer to us, please?
I am back.
Yes.
Can
great.
you hear me?
Wonderfully. Yeah, that's perfect. Go ahead, Chloe.
Yes. Yes, the mic. The mic. I'm back. Can you hear me? So sorry. I'm so sorry for this really, really bumpy beginning. It's not my house. I'm in the woods, and I was walking around finding a good spot, and I think it just got worse. I love your project, and I love to be part of this. And so I have a very peculiar relationship with languages. I am a big language nerd since I was a little child. And one of the reasons is I am on your family side, which spoke French, but also my father's side that spoke Hebrew and Yiddish sort of frequently. And so for me to make an effort to speak with my elders was not only the possibility of discovering other cultures, as Fernanda mentioned, but also a way to get closer to my family, to people that had really interesting stories and that couldn't necessarily communicate well in Portuguese, right? You are still following me, right? The mic is okay? Yeah. No? Oh, I cannot hear you. Yeah, okay. So there was this environment, and so since my second, let's say, trend in my childhood is not only my desire to communicate with everybody in my family that spoke foreign languages, but also this perception that you had to fake till you make. This is something that begins in my life very early. And I would improvise in whatever French I could provide to my grandma. And, I would try to mix in conversations I definitely couldn't understand between my grandpa and my father in Yiddish. And I think this is something that helped me a lot. Not only pretending you can speak, pretending you can understand till you eventually really understand and speak, but also in the reading and writing domain. I also studied at Cultura Inglesa. I did the whole shebang from 12 to I think 17 till I had Oxford and Cambridge proficiency certificates. And I remember even in the beginning, I was always in the library, and I was always asking for books that were way above my level. And I remember I was maybe in the second or third year at Cultura Inglesa, and I would read Agatha Christie, and many times I would finish the book. I wouldn't really know what happened, who was the murderer, but progressively this became easier and easier and more organic, more organic way of learning. I always liked to learn outside of the classroom. So yeah, I've been a lifelong learner of languages, and English entered in middle school, and I had a
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Chloe. I would have some questions for you, especially in terms of the French and Italian for you, but bit by bit, we still have this problem with action, and that's okay. Thank you so much for sharing, Chloe. Fernanda, my second question is to you. You were saying that for you, it was difficult to notice the moment when you became fluent. Was there a trigger in your life that you said, okay, no, English is something that I know, that I can deal with anybody, or it was part of yourself fluent in English?
Okay, I couldn't hear the final of the question, the final part of the question, but I think I got the idea. Yes, when I was studying English here in Brazil, I didn't have I think Regina's experience from the family that's part was speaking French and Yiddish. I didn't have that experience at all. So I was born in the countryside here in the state of São Paulo. It was an Italian colony, but they all spoke Portuguese, and I didn't have that contact or experience with other languages at all when I was a child or things like that. And when I was studying English as a second language here in Brazil, I didn't have like that click that, wow, I am fluent in English. I think I had that when I was about 20, 21, that I went to Canada to study English. I went to a school there only to study English, and I stayed for a few months. And there, when I arrived and I started to ask for my luggage at the airport, or getting a cab, or I think when I lay down in bed that night and I thought, wow, I am fluent. I can communicate. I can do whatever. Sometimes I had problems to express myself, but in the end, people understood what I was saying. So I think I had that week when I just arrived in Canada. I thought, oh, I am fluent, and I can go on from that. And I had a wonderful time there. I traveled to different cities in Canada with Canadians and other people from different parts of the world. No Brazilians was around me at that time. So I think that was the moment that I really could feel I am confident enough to speak English, and I'm okay. I think was that moment.
Great, Viv. Thank you so much for sharing with us. What about for you, Beatriz? Was there a moment in your life you read the Harry Potter collection in English and told everybody about it?
You froze a little bit for me, Dani, but I think it is the same question as Fernanda. So I think that for me, I was also very lucky to be able to do a few exchange programs when I was growing up. The first time was when I was 15, and I went to Canada. I think I was muted. Okay, I'm back. The first time, I mean, I could do things by myself, and I feel like I didn't really need help, but I don't think I still felt like I was fluent at that point. I think the first time like I felt like, okay, like I know what I'm doing was when I was 20, and I went to Ireland for an exchange program as well. And I lived with a family when I went there. And I remember when I arrived at their house, and, I was greeting them, and, I could communicate pretty well. And they were like, what are you doing here? Like, you can speak English already. So why are you doing this exchange program? And I was like, well, I mean, I think I still have things to learn. And then at the school as well, I remember people always saying, oh, but you already speak English so well. Like, why are you doing this course? So I think that at that point was when I realized that, okay, I think I can speak English. I think that, having experiences abroad is when you actually are able to test, everything that you have learned, and, and see if, you can actually get by, So I think that was the first time that I was like, okay, I think I am fluent.
Cool, Bea. So nice. Thank you so much for sharing. That was great. It's really difficult to notice notice yourself fluent. Can you imagine when you are fluent in more than 2, 3, 4 languages, right, Flo? It was French, English. To really notice your fluency in let's talk about all the languages. Was there a moment for you for each one of them, or they came in different paces?
I think you are muted, Flo. No?
We can hear you, but you're not muted. No. We can hear you. We can hear you, Chloe. Check if the plug is connected correctly in the device. No.
Well, I think it was a little tricky. I was at Aliança Francesa and Cultura Inglesa at the same time, and frequently I would have classes the same day. I would live. It doesn't look mute. Doesn't look mute. No? Nobody? Yeah.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I will keep talking. No? Nothing? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I can do mimic.
I can keep talking.
It's not. It's not. It's not. Yeah. No. It's not. It's only this. No. Dani. No. I'm sorry. You are hearing? Yes? So I'll remove this. Okay. So I don't know. Well, I'll begin from scratch. So it was a little complicated for me in a way to learn French and English at the same time. I'm sorry? Danny? No? No? Danny, you are not hearing?
We are hearing.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, you can hear? You can?
Don't worry, Chloe.
Okay. So, Danny, so I learned French and English at Aliança Francesa and Cultura Inglesa at the same time. Sometimes the same days. No? You're making faces.
We heard you
Can
before.
You hear me?
Don't worry. Don't worry. There's this delay, Chloe.
No?
We have
yes or no?
Between us. Don't worry. You said about Cultura Inglesa, about Aliança Francesa. Don't worry about that. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to ask the third question to Beatrice, and then we'll come back to you, and you tell us a little bit more. We still have this 30 seconds delay with you, Chloe, so we have to take it easy. Don't worry about that. I'm going to move forward. So we talked how it was at the beginning. We talked about how was this moment that we noticed ourselves fluent. And now I want to know a little bit about daily life. Beatrice, you live in London, so everything for you is in English. I was about to ask you how important is English in your life today, but I guess we have the idea, right? Can you tell us how's your daily life in London, and how easy or difficult to deal with the others in English?
So I mean, yes, obviously I use English for everything. At the moment I am in Brazil because of the pandemic, so I am only using English for work. But in my, normal day-to-day life, I use English for absolutely everything. And, when I moved abroad, it was a little bit of a adjustment, because in the beginning, I was obviously very nervous, doing interviews and, things like that in English, because, it's one thing to do that in Brazil. I've always felt quite confident, with my English here in Brazil. But when I moved abroad, I didn't really have that same confidence, to be honest. So doing interviews as a foreigner, in a place where most people that I was competing with were native speakers, was very scary in the beginning. So I think that was something that I had to, build that confidence in myself. And, especially in London, I think is a little bit different, because there are so many people from other places that I think that, in many interviews, you're going to see a lot of foreigners, doing interviews as well. So I think it gets a lot easier. But in the beginning, it was definitely really hard. And one thing that I think has always helped me is that I have always been really into anything that came from the UK. So music, movies, because I know that a lot of people that have a lot of difficulties with British English, thinking that the accent is really difficult. I mean, some accents I will never understand. I used to live with a person from Sheffield, and it is very difficult to understand. But I think that in general, I think that being exposed to the British accent because of my interest, from things from that part of the world, has always helped me very much. I think that adapting to speaking English there has always been a little bit more easy for me than perhaps to people that have learned American English. Sometimes, I think in my brain there is a mixture of both. Sometimes I will say lift, sometimes I will say elevator. It depends on the day. But people understand me, so that's what's the most important. But yeah, I mean, on the day-to-day, I think that what I notice the most is how it becomes like more organic for me to, use expressions that, you learn, how to use slang and how to use, expressions that are more, informal. But I've always found it a little bit hard to incorporate that, when speaking English. And I feel that by living abroad, these things have become more natural for me. And I feel like the way I speak English has changed quite a lot since living abroad. Because, you speak to people that are natives every day. So you end up absorbing a lot of expressions that they use.
That's so close. What you said is so close to me, because the English spoke a little bit more British than American, but so many sitcoms, so many movies, from United States. My internet connection is also bad. It's not only close. My bad here. I don't know if you're listening to me or not.
And you're even in the mountains.
Sharing that with us. Fernanda, what about, you just released a book in English. Can you tell us how's the process in your life today? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Fê?
I can hear you, Dani.
Hear me?
Go ahead.
Can you tell us? You can hear me. Great. Ali is here just telling me, no, now you're unfrozen. Yeah, no, you can go now, Dani. Fê, what about for you? How important is it language for you? You wrote a book in English. I think it's pretty important for you nowadays as well, right, Fê?
Oh, yes, it's very important. I will talk about the book in a moment. But I think I was being attracted to international experience since I was like a teenager. And after that experience that I had in Canada, so every money that I would like gain in my life, I would travel or think about travel. So it was all my investments in my 20s was about experiences abroad, I think. So I did a lot of traveling to many countries, and I think that was the reason that I was attracted to international business, and I started to work in this field. So all my PhD, my master and my PhD studies was about that, was international management, how multinationals go abroad, how they build their strategy and things like that related to that. So English was really important. So everything that I would read during my master's and PhD would be in English. I used to attend, and also that's a reality for me. I go to conferences in other countries. Sometimes I am a speaker. That is really was a learning process to be a speaker, because like Beatrice said, sometimes when you have to speak in public or things like that is a process. You have to. The first time can be very intimidating. It was for me, and it was something that I was nowadays. I think I am trained to speak, and so I have a little more confidence to be in front of people and speak in English. And like English is part of my writing work. So academic articles. So now the book, and I have another book that was a previous book before this, is about innovation in startups, Brazilian startups. And so Dani is not here anymore. Should we continue? Okay, you're here. So I had a previous book that was about Brazilian innovation in Brazilian startup, was also in English. And this particular book, that is being published by Cambridge University Press, it was an interesting project talking about the language, because I did the edition of the book, and I wrote a few chapters also, but the edition part was all the time communicating, having calls with the authors. So the chapters have to connect to each other. So that was a work that was really, really, I wouldn't say difficult, but was challenging, because the authors are from India, from the US, from Colombia, from Brazil, from different parts of the world. And that was challenging. Like we had a group of people. I think the team was 4 Americans doing the copy editing part of the book. That was really important, because the English, nobody was native speakers, and the copy editing part was quite a process for us.
That's great, Fer. That's amazing. To write a book and to have it edited, and people from all over the world, that was amazing, Fer. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Claude, let's try, Claude. You still have to tell us a little bit about the moment that you found yourself fluent in English. And if you can tell us, okay, you're married to an American guy, your daughter goes to an American school, English is part of your life. Tell us how it was for you to find yourself fluent, and just give me this third answer as well. How important is English in your life? Because you still write, right? To newspapers, you have articles published all around. Claude, I'm going to wait now, so you go ahead whenever you feel that you finally heard me. Claude, we can hear you. We can see that you're talking, but we can't hear you. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. If it's the internet connection or your microphone, I would love to hear. You have so many stories to tell us. Yeah, that's a pity. That's a pity, cousin. Okay. Chloe, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Your voice comes in a different part. Yeah, that's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm not. We'll talk later. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Guys, I'm so sorry. My cousin Regina is not is not able to talk, to explain everything, and especially about Nova Mata, which is a brilliant project. And I would like to thank my guests today, Fernanda, Beatriz, and Regina. You are wonderful. We couldn't hear a lot of Regina. It's a pity, but we could hear a lot of Fernanda and Beatriz, and for that, I'm so Grateful. Guys, please don't forget to follow me on the social media, Daniel Cahen all around. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Classes every week, 2 classes being posted on my YouTube channel. I'd like to invite you for next Friday, where I will host another one of these talks about how people became fluent in English, and how people develop their skills to reach fluency. If you want to be here with us, just fill in the Google Forms that is here in the descriptions of this video. I will start with Fernanda. Fernanda, thank you so much for being here. How can we follow you? How can we find your book online? How can we get in touch with you? Can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Okay, thank you, Danny. It was great. Even though Chloe had that internet connection problem, and I think we all had internet connection problems tonight. That's okay. It happens. Technology sometimes is tricky, so that's fine. So my name is Fernanda Cahen. You can find me on LinkedIn, Fernanda Ribeiro Cahen, but when I say Fernanda Ribeiro, like it's a very common name. So Fernanda Cahen, if you put on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, I'm there. And the book is at Amazon. If you put Fernanda Cahen at Amazon.com, you can find the book. And
show us the book.
Again.
Again, yes. Close to the camera, Faye. I want to read the. Come on, yeah. Innovation from Emerging Markets, from Copycats to Leaders, edited by Fernanda Cahen, Lourdes Casanova, and Annie Miro. Great, Faye. Go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you for the promotion of the book.
Thank you so much, Faye, for being here. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation and talk to us today. Beatrice, thank you so much for being here, darling. It's great to have a former student talking to us. How can we follow you on Instagram, on Facebook? Can you tell us how can we get in touch with you?
Sure. So yeah, thank you again, Danny, for having me. So yeah, if you want to follow me on LinkedIn, I am there as Beatriz Corrêa. So I work with education. So hopefully, if people in the channel that are interested in, studying abroad, there might be something there that could be interesting for you. And on Instagram, I am Bia Corrêa. There's always some pictures of London, if that's interesting. So if you want to follow me there, that's it.
Thank you so much, Beatriz. That's great. Thank you. Chloe, thank you so much for being here, darling. I really wanted to hear about the Nova Mata project. Can we try one last time, just for you to tell us what is Nova Mata project? I don't think it's going to work. Guys, Lisa was like 10 years old. She's mental area. Follow her project, Projeto Nova Mata. It's something really amazing that she's been doing next week here on Friday. Thank you so much for today, guys. Take care and goodbye. Thank you, Bia. Thank you, Faye. Thank you, Chloe. Beijos.